One of Ireland's best-selling electric vehicles just got better. Introducing the all-new and improved Kia Niro EV. With up to 460 kilometres driving range from a single charge, and now packed with a host of standard safety features that have earned it the maximum 5-star Euro NCAP rating. The new Niro EV, available to test drive at your local Kia dealer now. For more, see kia.com.
Kia, movement that inspires.
You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have a right to an attorney prior to and during any question. If you can't afford one, the court will appoint one for you. Do you understand your rights?
When the wolf is at your door, your running's over, that's for sure. He already knows all about you. Cut you down, no matter by you. Now you better walk the line. Real life, real
Warning, this episode of Real Life, Real Crime, the podcast, may contain descriptions of acts of violence or that of a sexual nature and should be for people that are 18 years or older. Heed my warning, people. I do not get the facts of these cases off of the internet or from some television show. The facts I'm retelling you were presented to me by the victims of the crimes or the perpetrators who committed the crimes against the victims. My descriptions of the crime scenes, what I saw with my own two eyes. If you're going to get offended, please turn this podcast off now. Thank you. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of Real Life, Real Crime, the podcast. As always, I'm your host, Woody Overton. Real quick shout out to my convicts and Patreons. These are my subscribers, y'all, that make this show run. I appreciate each and every one of y'all for your financial support. I love you, love you, love you. Thank you. Convicts are the subscribers through the Real Life, Real Crime Community app, and Patreons are the subscribers through Patreon. Okay. So you can be one or the other. You know, they get commercial free early releases every week. They get bonus episodes locked up in the vault. They get all kinds of case file materials and everything locked up. So if you want to become a patron or convict, please do, and we'll accommodate you. All right, y'all. Today I'm going to be continuing the series Mo. All right. And when I left you last, Brian Paul and I had interrogated for many, many, many hours a guy named Jarrell Marshall, who was under arrest for the first-degree murder of Sean Alberts and the attempted first-degree murder of Christopher Belazar and the double armed robbery. Now, I told you basically that he denied it the whole time. We tried every trick in the book and he wasn't playing, right? But I have before me the transcripts of his final statement after all the hours and what we had him locked into. And I want to read it to you. And I've never got to do this before on Real Life, Real Crime. It's kind of a treat for me to get to go back. And I think maybe I've done it once or twice, but it's a treat for me to get to go back and read the questions and it takes me back to the interrogation room and stuff like that. And I think you as listeners, and instead of me just telling you, if you get to actually hear what was said, you would appreciate it. So now on these transcripts, y'all, we had shitty recorders, obviously, back then. and we would do the tapes, and we had these little mini cassette tapes. This was before digital recorders, and on the recorders, and we would make the recording. We would turn it in to one of the secretaries, Miss Doris, and she would had the job of transcribing these interviews. And I don't think Miss Doris was, I mean, I loved her to death, right? But there's a whole lot of spots during these interviews where I'm going to have to say inaudible. So I'm reading you exactly what was said, who said it, and what was said. If I say inaudible, that's where Miss Doris, I think maybe she was typing so fast and she didn't understand something that I said or whoever said in the room, and she would just put inaudible. Right. So that happens a lot, unfortunately, but you'll get the general context of these interviews. Now, listen, I have like 5 more of these that I'm going to be reading in this case, and they get better and better and better. So I'm going to start with Jarrell Marshall's. Now, remember, I told you a guy had gone to Detective Murphy Martin's resident late that night, like 11 o'clock, and said, hey, I got Jarrell in the truck. They knew Jarrell had the warrants for his arrest. Murphy placed him under arrest, brought him to the jail. He called us and told us that he was headed to the jail and the kid wanted to talk, right? So we get to the jail. He's already been advised of his rights and all that. And then we take him to the detective's office and conduct the interrogation. So I'm just going to read. So just bear with me. All right. So it says, it's C file number 11905 and the initials JM behind it. And it says State versus Majori Cheffney and Jarrell Marshall. Statement taken from Jarrell Marshall, Detective Brian Smith, and Detective Woody Overton, tape number 5755. It starts out. So y'all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to read the name of the person that's going to talk in their statement, and then the next one, and so forth. All right. So it starts out, it says Brian, that y'all, and if I say Brian, that means the Detective Brian Smith. It says Brian, and Brian says, I'm Detective Brian Smith, along with Detective Woody Overton. We're at the Livingston Parish Courthouse in the Detectives Division. The time now is 2:25 a.m. The date is May the 14th, 2005. And we're here with Jarrell Marshall, black male, date of birth, 4/12 of 85. Jarrell, when Mr. Detective Murphy Martin brought you to the jail, he advised you your rights and consents to questioning, correct? Jarrell says, yes, sir. Brian, did you understand your rights? Jarrell, yes, sir. Brian, is this your signature? Jarrell, yes, sir. Brian, on this form of consent to questioning, you read that, and is that your signature? Jarrell, yes, sir. Brian, okay. You understood your rights, all right? You understand you're under arrest for 4 separate charges. The first one is principal to first degree murder. The second one is principal to armed robbery on Sean Alberts. Third is a principal to attempted first degree murder on Christopher Belazar. And the fourth one is principal to the armed robbery on Christopher Belazar. Okay. Now, this is an incident that took place on May the 13th at approximately 3:30 a.m. between 3 and 3:30 a.m. Can you tell me your knowledge about that? Jarrell, I don't have no knowledge to it. Brian, you don't have no knowledge to it? Jarrell, inaudible, nothing about it. Brian, you don't know nothing about it? Jarrell, I don't know nothing about it. Brian, okay, can you tell me where you was out last night? Jarrell, I was first I went to a girl named Tamara Scott's house in Livingston. Then I went back to my Uncle Glenn's house where I've been staying. Brian, where's Tamara Scott's residence at? Jarrell, in Livingston, right over. Brian, you're probably going to have to speak up on the tape recorder. Probably is not going to pick you up. Jarrell, right over across the tracks, right here in Livingston. Brian, Across the tracks in Livingston, Tamara Scott. How old is Tamara? Jarrell, 17. Brian, about 17. Is that your girlfriend? Jarrell, no, Brian, just a friend? Who all was at Tamara Scott's residence? Jarrell, me, Josh, I don't know the other girl's name, Tanisha or something. Brian says, Josh who? Jarrell, Dantzler. Brian, all right. And from what time to what time was you at Tamika Scott's residence yesterday evening? Jarrell, from around 9 until about 11:30. Brian, about 9 until 11:30. Jarrell, something like that. Brian, you have to speak up or it ain't going to pick up. Jarrell, about till 11:30. And I made it back to Albany about 11:30 or 12. Brian, you made it back to Albany about 11:30 or 12. How'd you get back to Albany from Tamika's residence? Jarrell, from Tamara's. Josh. Brian, Tamara. And when you got back to Albany, where, be more specific of you where you went. Where did Josh drop you off at? Jarrell, Josh dropped me off at my Uncle Glenn's house. Brian, Glenn who? Jarrell, Glenn Marshall. Brian, and where's he live at? Jarrell, North Cafe. Brian, you know the address there? Jarrell, no, sir. Brian, how far past Brown Road is that? Ed Brown Road. If you're traveling north on North Cafe line, Ed Brown turns to the right, correct? Jarrell, inaudible. Brian, how far? Jarrell, inaudible. Brian, about 200 yards past Ed Brown? Okay. Who was at the residence? Jarrell, at my uncle's residence? Brian, yeah. Jarrell, Glenn and Patrick Reams. Brian, Glenn Marshall and Patrick? Jarrell, Patrick Reams. Brian, Patrick Reams, is that a black male? Jarrell, black female. Brian, black female? Jarrell, and Glenn is a male. Brian, okay, you got there about 11:30? Jarrell, about 11:30 or 12. Brian, about 11:30 or 12. And you stayed there all night? Jarrell, yes, sir. Brian, did anybody come by during that time? Jarrell, no, sir. Brian, or did you leave at any time? Jarrell, no, sir. Woody, and you said you were sleeping in the middle bedroom? Jarrell, yes, sir. Brian, when you walk in the house, describe where you're at. Jarrell, when I walk into the house? Brian, when you walk inside the door, what bedroom were you in? Jarrell, when you walk inside the door, go left down the hall. Well, you down the hall. As soon as you hit the hallway, you make a left. That's the bedroom. You go past down the bathroom. They in the back room. Brian, okay, so when you walk in the door towards the hall, you stay in the bedroom on the left. If you keep going down the hall, then that's where the back bedroom is. Who was staying in the back bedroom? Jarrell, Glenn and Patrick. Brian, Glenn, all right. What time did you wake up this morning? Jarrell, around 9 or 10. Brian, 9 or 10. And where'd you go from there? Jarrell, to my inaudible. Brian, at what point did you hear of the homicide that took place, the shooting on Ed Brown Road? Jarrell, inaudible. Brian, I can't hear you. Jarrell, it happened about 12 something. Brian, about 12 something? And who'd you hear it from? Jarrell. A little girl named Tasha. Brian. You know her last name? Jarrell. Jackson. Brian. And where did you see her at? Jarrell. At my cousin Dean's house. Brian. Where's he live at? Jarrell. It's a woman. Brian. Where's she live at? Jarrell. She live on North Cafe in Audible, back up the road, close to Ed Brown. Brian. Back towards Ed Brown? All right. What'd they tell? Hey, y'all, let me tell you about Gobble. All Gobble meal kits are pre-prepped. That means less work for you and less waste in your kitchen. Their meal kits include everything you need so you can save time at the store or just skip that trip entirely. I got the box in and I had 3 different meals. I had a Kung Pao chicken, crispy fish tacos, and a beef bourguignon, however you say it. But let me tell you about the classic beef bourguignon. Look, it came with beef pot roast and a beef broth concentrate, red wine demi-glaze, cremini mushrooms, cipollone onions, mashed potatoes, baby carrots, and rosemary thyme butter. It was so easy to make. Literally like 15 minutes it took Cindy. And let me tell you something, and all the dishes were fire, but this thing was like a taste explosion in my mouth. It's just unreal. We've got to spend more time together and more time doing the things we love because everything came in this one single box right to my door. So see what a difference Gobble will make for your household. Right now, they're offering my listeners a fantastic limited time deal. You get $120 off across 4 boxes plus free shipping and free cookies. And let me tell you, those cookies, I ate one that was sin baked and it was delicious. Go to gobble.com/real life. That's GOBBLE.com/real life for $120 off your first 4 boxes. This offer is not available on the home site, so don't miss out. This is genius. It's taste explosions in your mouth like you never had. Spark something uncommon this holiday with just the right gift from Uncommon Goods. The busy holiday season is here, and Uncommon Goods makes it less stressful with incredible hand-picked gifts for everyone on your list, all in one spot. Gifts that spark joy, wonder, delight, and that's exactly what I wanted feeling. Hey, y'all, I ordered a super cool piece. It's a candle with a sculpture of LSU's Tiger Stadium on top of it. And each officially licensed laser cut wooden replica features up to 4 layers of detail, creating a bird's eye view of a specific football field, seating section, and more. And every label includes your stadium's name, the team's logo, and school location. And it has a coconut, soy, vegan wax infused with sandalwood smell that creates tailgates and touchdowns scent profile, reminiscent of game day. It's invigorating like fresh cut grass and nostalgic like smoke from a pre-game grill, and calming like the crisp autumn air of a new semester on campus. Y'all, I love it. I have it at the base of my TV and I'm ready to watch the Tigers play on Saturday night, right? Uncommon Goods. Look, when you shop at Uncommon Goods, you're supporting artists and small independent businesses. And many of their handcrafted products are made in small batches. So shop now before they sell out this holiday season. Uncommon Goods looks for products that are high quality, unique, and often handmade or made in the U.S. They have the most meaningful, out of the ordinary gifts anywhere. They even have gifts you can personalize. From holiday hosts and hostess gift to the coolest finds for kids to hits for everyone from the book lovers to diehard sports fans. Uncommon Goods has something for everyone, not the same old selections you can just find anywhere. And with every purchase you make at Uncommon Goods, they give $1 to a nonprofit partner of your choice. They've donated more than $3 million to date. So to get 15% off your next gift, go to uncommongoods.com/RLRC. That's uncommongoods.com/RLRC for 15% off. Don't miss out on this limited time offer. Uncommon Goods, we're all out of the ordinary. Tell you about it. Jarrell, inaudible, killed. Brian, did you know Sean? Jarrell, yeah, I know Sean. Brian, well, how well did you know him? Jarrell, We were pretty cool. Brian, you were friends with him? Jarrell, yeah. Brian, how long do you think you've been knowing him? Jarrell, inaudible, teenagers. Brian, since y'all were teenagers? Woody, you said you never left the residence? Jarrell, inaudible. Woody, so there's no reason whatsoever at all, you, inaudible, you didn't leave the residence until around 9 something this morning when you got up, right? Jarrell, inaudible. Woody, between, let's say, 11:30, whatever, did you go to bed when you got to the residence, or what'd you do? Jarrell, I went straight to bed when I got to the residence. Woody, there's no reason anybody should have seen you on Ed Brown Road or Drake Road or Durbin Road or anywhere after 11:30 p.m., correct? Hey, you want to hear something that's even more shocking than any true crime episode? Since 2020, 2 out of 3 people report feeling extreme stress, and it's affecting their sleep and affecting their overall health. These days, stress seems to hit us from every possible angle in any environment, anytime, day after day. Unfortunately, all that stress can have serious impact on your immune, digestive, respiratory, and cardiovascular system. And of course, it can do a number on your cognitive and mental health. Wouldn't it be nice if you just had an off switch, an easy way to reboot and reset, to quickly find a calm, clear, and positive way to handle whatever life throws at you? Enter Just Calm, the breakthrough new stress and mood support formula from Just Thrive. Yes, the same Just Thrive that produces our favorite probiotic. Here's what makes Just Calm so radically different from anything you may have tried before. It's the first retail available supplement to feature the proprietary psychobiotic strain known as BL1714. Psychobiotics are a new class of products that utilize beneficial bacteria to support your best mood, cognition, and emotional health. And BL1714 is the most heavily researched and scientifically verifiable strain available. In fact, numerous studies have shown that BL1714 can be an absolute powerhouse in the fight for your mental health well-being because it quickly promotes a healthy response to everyday stress. It encourages a steady, serene, and balanced mood. It drives mental clarity, focus, and alertness, and it even supports great energy and optimal sleep. Imagine being able to turn down the noise and turn up the calm, one addition to your daily routine that takes just seconds to implement, and it's all natural. This is true stress management and support that's built for the modern world. So bring on the insufferable rush hour traffic, the deadlines and mounting pressure at work, and the relentless miles long of a to-do list. With Just Calm, you'll have the power to take on the day of feeling cool, collected, and in control. Paired with Just Thrive Probiotic, this is one dynamic duo for proven gut, immune, and mood support to help you live your best life. If you're ready to up your game and feel your best, you can get 15% off both Just Thrive Probiotic and Just Calm or any of their other scientifically proven products when you go to justthrivehealth.com and use code RLRC at checkout. That's justthrive.com, code RLRC. 15% off promo code, entire site wide. Go to justthrivehealth.com and use my code RLRC at checkout. Jarrell, correct. Woody, and 9 something Friday morning, right? Jarrell, yes, sir. Woody, right. None whatsoever at all. Jarrell, none whatsoever at all. Brian, can you describe what clothes you were wearing? Jarrell, black jersey with some black shorts and white Reeboks. Brian, black jersey, black shorts, and white Reeboks. Jarrell, yeah, inaudible. Woody, have you, you know where Sean got murdered at? That lot, that empty lot? You ever hang out there? Jarrell, inaudible. A couple times, inaudible. Woody, when was the last time you were there? Jarrell, it was a while. Woody. How long is a while? Give me a guess. Jarrell. Months. The inaudible. On the corner in a brick house, inaudible, right there. Woody, inaudible. It's been a month probably since you've been on that lot. Brian. You know Christopher Belazar? Jarrell. Yes, sir. Brian. How well do you know Chris? Jarrell. Inaudible. Staying at somebody's house that I know. Brian. Have y'all ever had an argument? Jarrell. No, sir. Brian. And how well would you say you know him? Jarrell. Inaudible. I seen him when I go through there. Brian. I mean, you seen him, or you actually introduced yourself to him and met him, or y'all just seen each other? Jarrell. Yeah. Brian. Have y'all ever spoke? Jarrell. Inaudible. Yeah, I spoke to him. Brian. About how long you think you've been knowing him? Jarrell. About 5 months. Brian. 5 months. Does he stay on Ed Brown? Where at? Jarrell. In a blue house on Ed Brown? Brian. You know who his girlfriend is? Jarrell. Yeah. Brian. What's her name? Jarrell. Tessa. Brian. Tessa. All right. Woody. You know Rodney Dillon? Jarrell. Yes, sir. Woody. And when was the last time you saw him? Jarrell. Sunday. Woody. Where'd you see him at? Jarrell. On Drake Road. Woody. Sunday wasn't Mother's Day, was it? This past Sunday, was it? Brian. Uh-huh. Woody. How good of friends you and Rodney? Jarrell. We just see each other, speak to each other. Woody. You know what kind of vehicle he drives? Jarrell. A Suburban. Woody. You know what color it is? Jarrell. Brown. Woody. When was have you ever been inside that vehicle before? How long has it been since you've been inside of it? Jarrell. About a month or two. Woody. A month or two? Brian. Who was you in it with? Jarrell. Tony Showers. Brian. Tony Showers? Just you and Tony? Jarrell. Yes, sir. Brian. You borrowed it from Rodney? Jarrell. No, Tony Showers borrowed it from Rodney. Woody. Where'd you sit when you were in the vehicle? Jarrell. In the front. Woody. Driver's seat or passenger? Jarrell. Passenger. Woody. You never sat in the back of the vehicle? Jarrell. No, sir. Woody. There shouldn't be any reason, any prints or DNA or anything like that. Jarrell. Shouldn't be anywhere. Woody. Past the front passenger seat? Jarrell. Past the front passenger seat. Woody. Now, you say it's been a month and a half or so. Jarrell. 1 or 2 months. Woody. 1 or 2 months, you've been in the vehicle, and when you were in the vehicle, you sat in the front passenger seat. How long were you in the vehicle for? Jarrell. About, we went from E-Tops to the Inaudible, to the Waffle House, and then we went to some girl's house, Inaudible. Been about an hour. Brian. About an hour? Jarrell. We got back in. Then when I went over there by the girl I was with, one of her other boyfriends came over there and got into it with me. She called the police on him and ended up going to jail. We both got back in the Suburban and went to the jailhouse and picked her up, and then some other girl. Woody. You know a guy they call Mo? Jarrell. No, sir. Woody. Rodney Dillon, your cousin. You don't know him? Jarrell. Don't know him. Woody. Never seen him? Jarrell. Never seen him. Woody. We showed him a picture of him before, and I identified him as being, what's his real name, Brian? Brian. His real name is Majori Cheffney. Have you ever heard that name before? Jarrell. No, sir. Brian. Medjoure. Majori. Last name is Cheffney. Chefney. Never heard of him? Jarrell. No, sir. Woody. You never hung out with him? Jarrell. Never hung out with him. Woody. Never seen him in a public place, E-Tops, or anywhere else? Jarrell. No, sir. Brian. I know you had mentioned earlier when we were speaking with you that you've seen Rodney on occasions at E-Tops, right? Rodney Dillon. Have you seen anybody with him lately? Jarrell. Nobody other than Dan, the only inaudible. I know he hangs out with Dan. I see Dan and him pass by through the hood, the neighborhood. Woody. Dan Highstraw or Dan West or Watkins? Jarrell. Highstraw or Watkins? Woody. He goes by both names, correct? Jarrell. I guess. Brian. What's Little Dan drive? Does he have a car? Jarrell. Only thing I saw him in, he'd be in Rodney's Suburban. Sometimes he'd be in a small white Toyota. Brian. All right. That's the only person you seen with Rodney when you seen Rodney. Jarrell. Yep. Brian. And that's at E-Tops and on Ed Brown Road and Drake, Cafe Line area, all that whole area. Jarrell. Inaudible. Woody. You ever been to Rodney's mama's house on Dillon Lane off of Old BR, Old Baton Rouge Highway? Jarrell. No, sir. Woody. Again, for no reason whatsoever at all, anybody should have seen you anywhere between 11:30 or so, 11:30, 12 last night, and 9 something this morning. Nobody should have seen Jarrell Marshall anywhere, correct? Jarrell. Nobody should have seen me at 12 o'clock. I was at home. I should have made it home by 12, and I should have been gone to bed at 9 or 10. I was going to say my auntie's house. Brian. Your Aunt Rose Jackson, right? Jarrell. Yeah. Brian. Rose Hall? Jarrell. Rose Hall. Brian. Rose Hall? Jarrell. She was a Jackson though. Brian. Yeah. All right, Jarrell. Is there anything else you need to add, Woody? Woody. I don't think so. Brian. Is there anything you want to add or take away from your statement, Jarrell? All right. The time is now 2:42. The date is still May the 14th, 2005. This concludes the tape statement of Jarrell Marshall. Brian. Hey, I'm Detective Brian Smith along with Detective Woody Overton. The time now is 1:01. The date is May the 15th, 2005. I'm sorry, y'all. That's another one. All right. So I wanted to read y'all the first of the transcripts. Now let's recap where we're at, and then I'm going to get into the next one, the next episode. What I did, or what Brian Paul and I did on the statement, this is after hours and hours of talking to him, y'all, and trying all the tricks with the photographs and everything else. So when we knew he wasn't going to change his story, we come back and we put it finally on tape. Otherwise, these little cassette tapes would last like 30 minutes, and it was just standard practice. We got in with the bad guy, locked him into their story, would try to, pick holes in it or whatever. And when they stuck to the story, we let it slide. And in the very end, you lock him into that on the statement. So what happened was like I told you last week, he's denying anything. He's denying knowing who Mo is. He's denying ever been on to Rodney Dillon's house. He's denying that anybody should have seen him anywhere after midnight, the morning of the shooting, right? That he was at his uncle's house asleep until the next morning at 9 or 9:30. Well, go fuck yourself. Hey, ladies, are you feeling overwhelmed by hormonal changes? Well, you're definitely not alone. There are more than 1,000 hormone disruptors living in our environment right now. It's in your food, your water, the air you breathe, the clothes you wear, your skincare products. They all mess with your hormones. Then there's the natural hormone changes your body goes through, premenopause, menopause. And while it's a natural process, it doesn't mean you have to suffer through it. The good news is you don't have to suffer through it anymore, because now you have Hormone Harmony, a formula made only with herbal ingredients that are shown to reduce hormonal symptoms in women of all ages. Hormone Harmony is not just a hormone supporting supplement, it's become a phenomenon. Women can't stop talking about it on social media. A bottle of Hormone Harmony is sold every 24 seconds. And the biggest benefit? Well, my wife says it makes her feel like her own self again. And that's what women mention over and over in the reviews. And there are over 30,000 reviews for Hormone Harmony. And for a limited time, you can get 15% off your entire first order at happymammoth.com. Just use code RLRC at checkout. That's happymammoth.com and use code RLRC for 15% off today. That's happymammoth.com and use code RLRC. We've got you lying, or at least we have the contradictory statements. One, you have an eyewitness who was armed robbed, watched his friend get shot and murdered, and then he's running away and gets shot, but he picked you out of a photo lineup. Definitely without hesitating, this is and he said the N-word, and this is that shot me. Talking about Mo. But when he was presented Jarrell Marshall's photograph, he said that's the end that was there with City, meaning Mo George Hefney. And, you know, they say eyewitness testimony is probably some of the worst that you can have. Well, I agree with that on certain cases and high stress situations and stuff like that. But on this case, the Mo and Jarrell had direct contact, face-to-face contact with Sean Alberts before he was killed and Christopher Belazar for a couple minutes. I mean, long enough to point guns at them, make them empty their pockets, pick up the money that fell out, and then start shooting for no reason. Okay. I totally believe when I showed the photo lineup to Christopher Belazar that he had it spot on. Rodney Dillon's mama said that she had seen Jarrell Marshall with Mo on Dillon Lane by her house. All right. He denied that. He said, but he didn't know that. He didn't know before he denied it that we already had the statement from her that yes, he'd been down there and she'd seen him with Mo. Okay. He denies knowing Mo, period. Never seen him before. Showed him the picture. Never seen him. Don't know him. Absolutely not. No. Denial is not a fucking river in Egypt, right? He was sticking to his guns. Why? But shit, we didn't have any incentive to give him. It's not like we can say, hey, we can take murder off the table if you confess, against this cat, right? But guess what? We didn't need him. We didn't need him to testify against Mo. I mean, fuck it. We had him there. That's way beyond a reasonable doubt if you believe the witnesses, if you believe Christopher Belazar, the living witness, and then you back it up with, and I'm going to read you some more stuff on future episodes. You back it up with all the other stuff that he's lying and saying he hadn't done, and like nobody saw him after midnight, didn't know Mo, never been to Rodney's house, the and I don't want to give it away yet, but there was a reason that I locked him into that he only sat in the front of Rodney's vehicle. Remember, he said there was no reason his DNA should be anywhere in that vehicle behind the driver's seat. And that'll come into play later on. But so we took him back, and naturally after that statement and booked him in. And I told you what happened the next morning, when we talked to Mr. Kearney, and that I totally believe that Jarrell Marshall was absolutely guilty and that he was lying his ass off, and he was in self-preservation, right? When you're a kid, you ask your mom, can you have a cookie before dinner? And she says no. And you go and you sneak it in the kitchen and you get a cookie out of the cookie jar, and it falls and it breaks at your feet, and your mom comes in the room and sees you standing there with a cookie in your hand. You got cookies all on your feet and broken glass. And she's like, you do that? And you're like, right? Fuck, that's called self-preservation, people. We all have it. And if you, I don't believe that Jarrell Marshall knew fucking Mo was going to kill anybody, but he's still just as guilty because he went with him to rob him. So self-preservation, well, fuck you. We're going to do our job, and we're going to prove that you're done. Okay, so y'all, this would not be the last statement we got from Jarrell Marshall. All right, as the case developed, and I'll tell you and explain to you what happened. But we definitely would come back at him again and check his oil, if you will, a couple of days later in this case. Now, there's so much more. I'm trying to put it together for you in chronological, exactly what happened next. And then I may run out of time here for this week because I think this is going to be way too long. What do the U.S. News, PC Magazine, and Popular Science have in common? They all rank Simply Safe Home Security as the best home security of 2021. In fact, U.S. News just named Simply Safe the best home security of 2022 as well. Y'all, I have this in my home, this system. First of all, it's easy to install. I have the outdoor cameras. It's monitored by professionals. But what I love, I have indoor cameras also, so I can watch what's going on in my house. Especially, I have one over my gun safe and my money safe. So I get an alert anytime anyone goes into that spot where they're not supposed to be. Simply Safe products protect your whole home around the clock, every door, window, and room. It's backed by the best 24/7 professional monitoring in the business, ready to dispatch police, firefighters, or EMTs to your home. With a comprehensive set of sensors and cameras, including the all-new wireless outdoor security camera, you always know what's going on inside and outside your home. Simply Safe is less than $1 a day, and you can set it up in around 30 minutes, and it's always simple to use. There's never a long-term contract. You can even try it for 60 days risk-free to see if you like it. If you don't, send it back free of charge. Simply Safe protects over 1 million homes in the United States alone. You can customize the perfect system for your home in just a few minutes at simplysafe.com/RLRC. Go today and claim a free indoor security camera plus 20% off with interactive monitoring. Go to simplysafe.com/RLRC. That's simplysafe.com/RLRC. You remember Jarrell said he had been in the town of Livingston at a girl's house, and that I think it was Josh Dantzler brought him back to and dropped him off at his Uncle Glenn Marshall's house on Cafe Line Road. So what did we do? Well, shit, he gave us that bit of information. You got to go run it down, right? You got to go dig it up, shake the tree, see what falls out. And that's exactly what we did. And y'all, this one I'm looking at, this next statement is so long, but it's very important. So I'm probably going to end it for this week. This is like 30 pages. So what I'll do next week is pick up with the next recorded statement, and it's going to be of Mr. Joshua Dantzler. All right. And look, I'll go ahead and read you. This is the people that we took tape statements from in this case. I'm looking at the form that says tapes received in this case number 11905, State versus Majority Chapman and Jarrell Marshall. Tape number 5754 is when we taped Majority Chapman. 5755, Jarrell Marshall. 5756, Christopher Belazar. 5757, Sonia Johnson. 5758, Joshua Dantzler. 5759, Travis Dantzler. 5763, Ricardo Miller. And 5764, Cordero Marshall. All right. Each one of these are like Sonia Johnson. I'm not going to read to you that. That is the house that Christopher Belazar ran into, remember, after he had been shot, and he stayed there sometimes. Obviously, I think that may have been his aunt or something. I don't remember. So I'm not going to read you that one. You just heard the first part of Jarrell Marshall's. Christopher Belazar, I'm not going to read it to you. I've already explained it to you, what had happened and what he said and everything else. But it is imperative that I read the next interviews and tell you what happened. And the next one will be with Joshua Dantzler. Okay. So remember, y'all, this is first degree murder. It's a death penalty case all day long and twice on Sunday. And Sean Alberts, I call him a good victim, meaning, Christopher Belazar was slinging dope. I mean, he could say whatever he wants to. I know what he was doing. Okay. And I know what he's done since, but he got robbed. And I mean, if you're a dope dealer or whatever and you get robbed, you're still a victim of a crime. And he got shot. Right. And he, by the grace of God, didn't get, several more bullet holes in him because of that piece of shit jam, the Tech 9. But Sean Alberts, y'all, during this time, we had talked to his mom and brothers again. One of his brothers, one of the older ones that I had arrested numerous times, and Brian Paul had called me, and I think Brian was at the autopsy. It was pretty fresh. And we went back down there, and he's like, Wolf, I need you, you got to get justice, man, because we're going to kill him. If you don't find him before we find him, we're going to kill him. And I was like, bro, you're going to go to prison for the rest of your life. And if you don't get the needle, just let us do our job. And he just wanted to talk. So even if you're a bad guy, if you're a technically bad guy, a dope dealer or whatever, they're still human beings. But Sean, he didn't deserve it. And I look at these crime scene photographs again and the damage done to this kid, who had everything going for him. But stay tuned. This case gets much, much more interesting as it goes along. And I have tons and tons of information to share. And I'm Woody Overton, your host of Real Life, Real Crime, the podcast. LOPA, Louisiana Organ Procurement Agency. They're heroes, y'all, saving lives every day. If you want to be an organ donor and you have to be from Louisiana. It's a nonprofit. If you want to be an organ donor and you are from Perth, PERTH, Australia. You can be an organ donor. Go to LOPA.org, fill out the form. They'll get you taken care of. Be a hero. Give the gift of life. And I'm Woody Overton, your host of Real Life, Real Crime, the podcast. Until next time or ever, don't let me catch you down on Murder Bayou. Peace. Real Life, Real Crime is a true crime podcast brought to you by your host, Woody Overton, executive producer, Jim Chapman with Envision Podcast Studios. Your music is provided by Chase Tyler and the Chase Tyler Band. Follow me on Instagram at Real Life, Real Crime or at Overton Woody. Check out our numerous social media pages. Also, go to the App Store and download our free Real Life, Real Crime community app, which contains all things real life, real crime and true crime and uncensored and run by me. Wherever you listen to a podcast, go like, subscribe, and review to Real Life, Real Crime or my other podcast, Scorched Justice. Thank you. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have a right to an attorney prior to or during any question. If you can't afford one, the court will appoint one for you. Do you understand your rights?